Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. If you're wondering, because many people have asked me, hey Pat, how's the baby doing? How's that baby? How's that baby life, Pat? How's it going, man? The baby's awake. It's always awake. Always.
This baby is knocking you out.
I may fall asleep on this live stream right now, but we're here.
Oh, no. Wake up.
To talk a little Bears football. PFF dropped their perfect draft prospect to every team. We got to take a look at who they have listed to the Chicago Bears, and do we think he is the perfect prospect? Kind of continuing a little bit of that conversation that we had yesterday. And then so much news around our beloved Chicago Bulls.
Oh,
because Casey Johnson,
what's he got to say?
Basically saying we're probably done doing stuff. All that and more in today's episode of the Morning Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us as always, man. The date is 2/5/2025. It's 7:15 in the morning. And Jordan JC.
Yeah.
I'm not up. Let's go!
I can see you. I can see you.
I am not awake.
This is the ghost of Pat right now.
Oh, Doug. Let me tell you right now, brother. This doggone baby life is different at 30 than it was at freaking 20, whatever I was. We had Ari at 27. Like, I mean, it was just
a couple years.
You know what it is, though? My grind was so different at 27 because I still was trying to get on at ESPN. Like, I had just got fired. All this other stuff had happened. So, like,
yeah,
I was used to, like, just not sleeping.
Yeah, you
I got a little cushy, you know what I mean? A little extra weight around the, a little bit extra around the thighs, you know what I mean? A little extra time in the bed. I was relaxing. Now it's like 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 3:45 to 4:30. You're up, buddy. And that second sleep is dangerous. For anybody who knows about the second sleep, if you wake up and hit that second sleep, that's a dangerous game to play.
You better be careful.
You'll lose your life.
You'll wake up 2 hours later and be late for work.
And it's always the same reaction. Why?
Jesus, man. Bad,
hey,
bad,
man. All I'm saying is bear with me here. Bear with me. We're going to keep giving y'all this content, man. It just may come a little later in the day. You know what I mean? It may, there we go. But hey, let's talk about this because I thought this was a very interesting article that PFF put out. They gave their perfect draft prospect for every team. And we kind of can go through they break it down by divisions. So we kind of can go through the entire landscape. By the way, Abdul Carter to the Jets is perfect. Kind of continuing that conversation we had yesterday about trading up. I don't like it, but I don't have to deal with Abdul Carter either. So I guess I like it from that position. When you get to the NFC North, though, some interesting names. They got Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State going to the Minnesota Vikings.
I saw that. Yeah.
They got and this is a dangerous one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, come on, you try it.
Princely Amuliana. Princely Amuliana. You gotta whenever I get to those long names.
Did you just give him the Hawaiian name from the tight end that we used to have?
Yeah. Whenever I get to the long names, I'm gonna throw an Una on there. You know what I mean? Amuliana man. I ain't slept, bro. You get what you get. Green Bay quarterback Jahdae Barron out of Texas. And then to your beloved Chicago Bears.
Oh, baby. What do we got?
They do go protection for Caleb Williams.
Makes sense.
They give you a Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas.
Not Ashton Genty. Oh,
no, Genty, I'll punch you right in the face. While some of the Chicago pass protection issues are on Caleb Williams in 2024, he led all QBs with 17 charge sacks and was third with 38 total pressures owned. By the way, 17 charge sacks to him.
Out of 68?
Yeah, it's still a lot of sacks. That's still a lot of sacks, guys. That's my point. The offensive line as a whole was clearly one of the weakest units in the entire league. Banks, therefore, makes perfect sense as he was the best player on the best offensive line in college football this season. In 2 seasons as the Longhorns starting left tackle, he allowed just 2 sacks and 3 QB hits on 1,040 pass pro reps. Now, here is where my question comes in on this. When you say he was the best left tackle on the best offensive line in football, is there a little bit of a concern there, JC, that yeah, he was great, but also he was great with the greatest offensive line in football? I don't know if I'd give Texas greatest offensive line in football. Really good. Yeah. But I don't know if I'd give you greatest O-line in football.
So are you saying that, you know, he looks good because he's around a whole bunch of other really good players as well?
Is he
that compliment him? You know,
who was our boy we ended up signing? Who was with the Raiders?
You mean as far as offensive
Alex Leatherwood? Is he an Alex Leatherwood
from Alabama? Yeah,
Alex Leatherwood was phenomenal in college.
I was high on the Alex Leatherwood.
Yeah,
I was like,
everybody was.
We got a gym here.
Yeah, everybody was, and then he was not. And then he caught mono. Did he catch mono?
Yeah, he caught mono, and then that was all she wrote. But I put it like this: if the only reason why I don't think that he is someone that is overhyped in a sense, because he's coming from a really, really good offensive line, is because of the program. Number one, they've always gone against really good competition. So I think he kind of holds his own. And again, you're talking about someone who has 1,040 pass pro reps, it mentions. So to me, I feel like that's enough of a sample size that kind of warrants him his draft stock, his draft value. So you know, when you look at it, what it is, and I understand that maybe by the time we get to the draft, just like as always, there may be some fluctuation where, you know, a guy like him maybe rises or falls. Maybe he falls because he's a hot name right now. We saw that, I believe, with Olu Fashanu, because when we were talking about Olu Fashanu to begin with, he was right there with Joe Alt. And then Joe Alt just rose. And then there were a few other names that were taken before Olu Fashanu, before he went to the Jets. And so could this be a name that maybe continues to drop, and maybe a guy like Josh Simmons, who is hurt, but now a lot of people know him to be the number one tackle. If he didn't get hurt, he rises. So there's those things as well. But overall, the prospect himself, I think he still is. He can hold his own. I think he's better than anything we got at left tackle right now. Speaking of Almageji and obviously Braxton Jones. So yes, he's still a good prospect in my eyes.
I think for me, when I look at Kelvin Banks Jr., right, it comes down to me with what you put around him. Not to say he can't be great on his own, but and I do think, I know a lot of people look at him more as a, right, it seems like this is the new thing now, right? He's more of a guard than he is a tackle. He's only played tackle in his career, but listen, good guards can move inside to tackle. I think he's got more of the makeup of a solid tackle. Now he's not a mammoth, right? He's 6'4", 320, right? I do like my tackles a little bit more. You know, give me that monster on the left side. You know what I mean? Listen, I can live with 6'4", 320 because of course you can put the weight on, but you know, I like a what was that boy we had? I like a Trent Williams. You know what I mean? At that left tackle,
absolutely.
Like, look at this guy. What the? Yeah, I mean, I like it, but I think the thing about left tackle is, right, it's all about the technique. It's all about, okay, how's he get the long arm out that? What's the footwork like to make sure that he is
hand placement,
getting back there? Where's the hand placement? What's he got with that left hand jab? A lot of those moves, stuff like that. But and Trent Williams essentially kind of the same build as Kelvin Banks Jr. You know what I mean? Like, so I like that. Or I should say essentially the same weight as Kelvin Banks Jr. I think Trent Williams 6'6", 6'6", kind of where I like my tackles at.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, I mean, I like a 6'6" kind of tackle, a big dude that just eclipses the sun on that left side. Yeah, I mean, but I think, listen, end of the day, my point in all of this is it can't just be all on the rookie, and I think that is. If the Bears do go the route that we think they're going to go this offseason, if the Bears do invest in the offensive line and free agency, heck, I'll say this: if the Bears do invest in the second round in somebody who played with Kelvin Banks Jr. in a Trent Williams, I'm sorry, in Trent, I'm tweaking, no sleep. In a Jake Major.
You want Trent Williams?
I really want Trent Williams. I don't know why.
Trent Williams on left
Trent, I miss you. No, if you invest in somebody who played center with Kelvin Banks Jr. in Jake Majors, in that second round, right? I love Jake Majors' game. I think he's a monster. I think he's a mauler. If you go double rookie on the offensive line, a little bit more concerned. I'd rather have a Dahlman out there or a Ryan Kelly.
Yeah.
Or maybe you still sign Ryan Kelly as a bridge guy. You bring in Majors, see what he's got, and you kind of figure some things out there. But just don't leave him out there kind of on an island by himself, very similar to how you have done Darnell Wright on the other side.
I think that was going to be my point too, is that you want to make sure that if you do go this route, you want to compliment him. I like that route you went, though. Get some guys that are kind of connected to each other. I would love that, man. If we went with that route where you got like the buddy system, you go Jake Majors, you go Kelvin Banks Jr., and then you get Trey Smith and Darnell Wright right there buddying up on the right side, right guard and right tackle. I wouldn't mind that as a start, and then you got to worry about if you're going to keep my goodness, I can't think of his name. Tevin,
Tevin Jenkins.
Or if you're going into free agency and you're going Zeitler or someone else that can fill that guard position, that would be really, really ideal. That would be a really good start to this offseason. But overall, yeah, I agree that I think that if you bring in the veterans that supposedly we're supposed to be going after and you attack free agency very hard this offseason, that's where I think we can kind of be okay with getting someone like a Kelvin Banks Jr. I do agree that he probably is going to be the best version of himself around a developed, a veteran presence, someone who is stable at that position next to him. Because we were always talking about the way Darnell Wright looked, even in his sophomore season. He had slumps. He had some games where it's like, okay, he's getting back together. But then it was always because the guy next to him was always a question mark. We obviously already knew about what Nate Davis didn't do. Then you put the big guy next to him in my goodness, my brain is, maybe I'm sleepy too. I can't think of any of the names that are the big guy that we had as a backup that was
Matt
really
Pryor. Well,
Matt Pryor got put in. He was okay. But then we were always talking about, well, why in the world aren't they just going to put Tevin Jenkins on the right side with him and just kind of just let it be what it is with the two maulers? And so that's my thing, is that, yes, if we go this route, we get someone like a Kelvin Banks, which I'm fine with. You want to make sure that you've addressed the other parts of the line as well to help him out.
Yeah, and that's the big thing here. Now, the one question I will ask, right, is if you feel that he is somebody who you can draft top, do you feel like he's somebody who you can draft top 10 if they project out his guards?
At the end of the day, that's the same thing that we were talking about with the LSU prospect, Will Campbell. So, I mean, because he has shorter hands. Now, I know the metrics on Kelvin Banks are a little bit bigger. And again, that was the reason why I even threw out Josh Simmons' names. I think he's a sure actual tackle. Like, by the measurables, Josh Simmons is that guy, and who I think will be there because of injury at 10. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. It depends on who's there at the board. If somebody like I don't know, and I know PFF is giving us Kelvin Banks. If somebody like a Mason Graham or a Abdul Carter for whatever reason, and I know this is just pie in the sky, just dreaming, drops to 10, and we don't move up to get those guys, and there's no movement at all. I want those two. I want one of those two. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm going the other side of the trenches, and then like you mentioned, we have 2 picks in the second round where you're looking at maybe a Gray Zabel, or you're looking at some other prospects that would be there as far as guards and tackles. Like I would be fine with that, but I don't think Kelvin Banks Jr. would be the best player available at 10, in my opinion. If you still have a Will Campbell or a Josh Simmons. That's just me.
Now this is interesting, right? Because when you look at, and again, he plays center. He was a center in college, but they did project him out as a guard because he was able to kind of do both.
Yeah.
If you look at last year's draft, the first guard taken off the board was in the second round. It was Jackson Powers Johnson.
Jeez. Well, there you go. Well, he was a center though at Oregon, right?
He was a center at Oregon, and he's played center in the NFL. But he also started off playing guard there.
Guard. Okay.
They kind of slid him in as both. And then you get to the third round with Brandon Coleman, Isaiah Adams, Cooper Beebe, Christian Haynes, Zach Zentner, Dominic Puny. Now here's the thing: these guys won't be in the second and third round. But my point is, if you look at these guys and say they're guards, they're good players, they're definitely going to make an impact on the offensive line, but they're guards. Can you still be all in on them at the top 10? Or do you kind of have to go, okay, we project these guys as guards. We probably can find guards later on in the draft. We could find guards in the second round. We could find guards in the third round. We need to attack this defensive line with, maybe there's a what's up, boy from Michigan? We was talking about Mason
Graham.
Mason Graham. Maybe there's a Mason Graham still available for you at 10. Maybe, or is there, maybe there's some situation where you go, the players we need to get are a little bit higher. Let's package something. Let's move up and go after them again. We had the conversation yesterday about, if you're willing to pick up the phone and talk about a trade for Myles Garrett, and I do think you should pick up the phone and at least hear what some of the terms are.
Right.
Would you be willing to pick up the phone and try and move up in this draft to go get somebody like an Abdul Carter? Would you be willing to pick up the phone and go after one of those top 5 prospects who, listen, there's some game-changing pieces up there outside of that quarterback position?
You dang right I'm picking up the phone. If I can get a way to move up to Abdul Carter, he's coming through that door. You know what I'm saying? He is coming through that door like that.
Carter's coming through that door.
Like, bro, if I'm telling you, I get tingly every time we talk about Abdul Carter. If we can find a way to finesse the draft and do that, that would be just a pure and utter destruction. Okay, that would be pure and utter destruction. But my thing is, with the way that the draft possibly could shape up, I feel like at the end of this, I feel like Kelvin Banks Jr. is going to be a prospect that's going to drop to maybe the teens, and I mean like the mid-teens, like 15 to 20, in my opinion, when it's all said and done. And you mentioned it too. Is it important to get someone who is a actual tackle? Because we talked about positions where you got guys that can kind of like even the Ryan Bateses that have been a guard and can play center and has been all over pretty much swing lineman. I want somebody that has played their specific position, and that's what they're good at. Like you said, mentioned Jake Majors, right? Center who can punt and block. Yeah. I mean, not punt and block, who can hike the ball and block. Like, I want a guy that when he was in college, this is what he did, and that's what he's going to do when he translates to the pros. I don't want someone who's all was because his measurables are kind of all over the place. His arms are too long, and he's a little undersized. We'll move him into guard and experiment with that. I don't want projects. I don't want experiments. I don't want somebody who's going to necessarily be moved into the inside. I want an actual tackle, which is why I keep going back to the likes of a Kelvin Banks or, like I said, Joshua Simmons. So at the end of this, I want someone who is actually going to be filling that left tackle position. I feel like that is the second most important position that we need to attack this offseason outside of center. And so when you're talking about these prospects, sure, that's good that they can probably, go to another role. That's sure that it's okay that they can probably move on the inside. But I want somebody who's going to solidify that left tackle position for the next 10 plus years.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's why for me, right, it's tough for me to say, yeah, no, just go all in. You know what I mean? Just if there's a Will Campbell up there, if there's a a Kelvin Banks Jr. up there, just take him. Like, not to say that I don't think that those guys aren't. Listen, I think Will Campbell's an absolute monster, and for me, I don't think he's going to get down to you. I think he projects more as a left tackle than a guard, just because of the dare I say, just because of the mindset. You know what I mean? Like we could sit there and talk about measurables all day.
Yeah.
Will Campbell is I mean, listen, he's kind of a bastard. Yeah, I mean, he's what
he plays angry. Yeah.
What did Ryan Poles say about Darnell Wright last season? He called him he's like he's a prick you want on your team.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what Will Campbell is. So I do look more at him as this dude is a absolute monster on that.
So
left
no matter
side.
the measurables, right? Okay.
And we can sit here and look at the arm length, and we can look at the the where his feet are placed and all of these different things.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he could still be an absolute mauler on that left side that just puts people into the ground. Like, to me, we focus so much on the numbers, you don't look at, okay, but what is the player? And I think that he has the talent to play left tackle at the NFL level, which is why I don't think he will be there at 10. I think Kelvin Banks is probably best case scenario. And if you're in the situation where Kelvin Banks is best case scenario, I wouldn't be surprised to see a move.
Yeah.
One way or the other. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised to see a move down to try and acquire multiple picks. And maybe you do go with somebody who, I don't want the banged up guy, but who is injured and is a clear-cut proven left tackle in Joshua Simmons.
And just to throw this question out real quick to you and the chat, you moving up or you moving down? If you were playing Jim right now, what would you do? Because you got two really good, obviously special prospects that I think you get in the trenches at defensive tackle and at linebacker / defensive end and Abdul Carter, or are you moving down and, like some of the chat is saying, you go maybe a guard and Tyler Booker and then address left tackle in the free agency period, where you have the guy likes of a Ronnie Staley or a Lark Jackson, things of that nature. What would you think?
I think for me, if I'm moving, well, first off, y'all know I would trade for Myles Garrett. So I'm trying to get
going all in on Myles again. Okay.
Well, I said this. I'd trade for Myles Garrett, but if I'm focusing in on the draft, my Myles Garrett is Abdul Carter. So I'd see what it takes to move up to get in the range to get Abdul Carter. But
I get you.
Trading down in this draft, I don't think is a that's a great question. Because I don't want to trade down. I'll be honest with you. If you felt like, I think I'm trading up either way. If I felt like Will Campbell wasn't going to make it to me, I'm trading up. If I felt like Will Campbell's going to go at like 6 or 7, I'm trading up.
Okay.
Because I just, listen, I get it. A little bit lighter, right? 323, 6'6". Who'd I just say that is? That's Trent. It's Trent Williams. You know what I mean? The mindset of this young man is just unbelievable. I don't think that you can go away you can lose drafting offensive linemen who are aggressive like that. I believe he projects out as a tackle. I'm not as worried about like, oh, his arms are a little short. He kills people over it.
He still is a mauler. He still has that mentality that you want. I agree with that. Yeah. I'm kind of caught between, rock and a hard place as well. I feel like I want to go for the special players. In my opinion, I feel like this is the offseason where you need to just do everything big. And we've been doing that with whether it be the coaching staff or shelling out money for the top free agent linemen. I think everything needs to be done big this offseason. And so, in my opinion, I would be moving up because I feel like some of these prospects that we truly want are going to be right outside of our grasp. Even, when we're talking about a Kelvin Banks Jr., I feel like, yeah, sure, he'll be there. But if you want somebody that's going to be a game changer, just completely game wrecker, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, paired up with the Javon Dexter, or Abdul Carter paired up with Edwards and Edmonds. I mean, that's a nasty combination. And then we worry about addressing the trenches, properly in free agency. So I'm with you as far as moving up for that Myles Garrett type of superstar or special player potentially.
Yeah, 100%. Shout out to Emilio Brito with the super chat. Said Mason Graham and Abdul Carter are the only two guys you trade up for, but realistically, Bears should trade down and get future assets and draft a guy like Booker. Yeah, listen, there's a ton of options. There's a ton of options for the Bears in this draft. I think it kind of depends on how aggressive you want to get. How far away do you really feel the team is? I said yesterday, I think the team is trenches away. I think there's a lot of ways for you to address the trenches in this draft. I think you did a poor job of it last season where there were a lot of ways to do it. I think there's still a lot of ways for you to do it this season. And for me, that is the, if I can draft the Will Campbell, if I can draft a Kelvin Banks Jr., if I can take a Jake Majors in the second round, if I can sign a Trey Smith or sign it, there's all of these names that we're throwing out there. And we're like, man, as you look around, there's a lot of pieces for you to add to the offensive side of the ball. Very similar on the defensive side of the ball. Ton of edge rushers in this draft that I think you could go after and that I'm excited about. But end of the day, it comes down to, how aggressive do you want to get? How close do you think you are? Because if you feel like you're close, I think that in that moment, you may make a move that is a little bit more unprecedented because you still feel it fits with your game plan. But appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. I seen Relentless Mikey say, what did he say? He said, YouTube was ghosting y'all this morning. No notification, found it through X. Yeah, it's probably because we was a little late. Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna blame YouTube. I ain't gonna blame YouTube. But if you're in here right now, you know what you can do. We got 150 people in this month. We got over 200 in the chat. Hold up. Over 200 in the chat. 200. What you can do to help is hit that like button and subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. You froze there a little bit on the 200 and you were stuck like this for a second with a smile. That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good. That was impressive. Okay. We're gonna need to see you over here. Clock out for us. Clock out for us real quick. I gotta talk to you about something. Before we get up out of here, we do got to talk about the latest around the Chicago Bulls as well, because of the trade deadline coming up. Are the Bulls done making moves? Casey Johnson put some interesting things out yesterday that I thought were a little bit of a letdown.
Concerning.
A little bit of a letdown, if we're being honest. But at least you saw Boozy Vert go for I hate you, Stacey. I'm not a fan of that nickname at all. At least you saw Boozy go for the 10 for 10 for 24 points. But before we do that, we're gonna listen into a word from our sponsors. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. We'll be right back right after this. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching the show. Today's episode of the podcast is brought to you by Aura. Have you ever done a Google search on your own name? You'd be surprised what pops up. Your full name, email address, home address, health records, your relatives. It's all out there. And that's why I've been using Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows me which data brokers are selling my information and automatically submits opt-out requests just for me. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use that information to help them access my social media, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. It's really simple to set up. I don't have to download several apps or go to things like antivirus, VPN, password management, parental controls, identity theft, but you can get all of that in one place with Aura. I get everything at one affordable price as well. You may already have one or two of these tools, but not having Aura is like leaving the front door locked while leaving the back door and windows wide open. For you to be able to take advantage of Aura, we got a special deal for you here today. Stop data brokers from exposing your personal information. Go to my sponsor at https:/aura.com/the Windy City. Again, that is aura.com/the Windy City to get a 14-day free trial and see how much of your information is being sold.
When a severe storm hits, hail and high-speed winds can cause excessive damage to your home. This can lead to blown-off shingles, broken windows, siding damage, and leaking inside. If you suspect your home has been hit with storm damage, contact CNN Construction today. We are a proud GAF Master Elite contractor offering free exterior home inspection for storm-related damages. CNN is a reputable licensed roofing and general contractor working hand-in-hand with insurance companies and homeowners every step of the way through the difficult claims and restoration process. We will meet with your insurance adjuster to discuss the damages to your property, the value of those repairs, and the scope of work needed at your home. Our skilled team has you covered and will leave your home looking brand new. Give us a call today at 844-415-ROOF or visit our website at cnroofs.com for a free exterior inspection. C&N Construction. We find the solutions, not the excuses.
Are we here? The best show for Chicago sports.
We lose JC?
You wake up, bro. You wake up. God.
Oh my God!
Sorry, it was the Aura music. It was that Aura music. Gets me every time. Hey, man, welcome back. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to Show Love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Hey, man.
This man is on 1 inch of sleep.
Hey, bro. When I tell you there is nothing like knowing when you lay down to go to bed, and y'all got to understand, I'm going to bed after finishing all my shows at like 11:30, 12 o'clock, knowing you got 3 hours.
Oh, boy.
You got 3 hours before this baby about to be, oh, dog.
I'm praying for you, brother.
But we still here. Man, listen, it's not the end of the world. I mean, I literally was sitting there at 3:45 this morning going, I get the blessing of feeding my son at home, and there's a lot of parents that don't get that opportunity because of certain circumstances you go through with pregnancy, especially with premature kids. I'm not complaining. More of it is me self-deprecating myself for being I can't say any of the words that I was going to say there. Being a little bit weak and not waking up when my alarm went off. So apologies to y'all, man, for waking up a little bit late. But hey, we're going to keep this thing moving along. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Show love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Go ahead and
come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push a button.
You heard what she said.
Y'all heard what Sue Young said. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review, man. All right, let's get into this because this was during the Chicago Bulls game yesterday, in which Modest Buzelis basically said, opportunity, let me get that. You didn't know I was Kevin Durant out here. Absolutely great day for the young Bulls yesterday. 4 young Bulls in double figures yesterday. And all of a sudden it was just this chatter on, okay, let's get these trades done. You moved one piece. Look what it did to these guys. And KC Johnson had to just come and just drop a little bit of misery on all our foreheads right there. As he tweeted this out during the game. As for the latest Bulls trade chatter, everything is fluid, but the optimism for more moves that surfaced Monday dried up some Tuesday. Nikola Vucevic is now prepared to be here past the deadline as the Warriors have shifted attention to bigger targets, including Kevin Durant. Now, there's more to this, and I'm going to read more of this, but I want to start with the Vooch thing here.
Yeah.
People have to understand it takes 2 to tango. Now, again, I think that there were a lot of deals that possibly were on the table that you could have taken to move Vooch's money. which I said you should have taken. Everybody's like, Pat, why would you ever want to trade for Clint Capella? Like, because his contract's expiring, and I don't care about who's on the future of this team with these pieces I traded for. You know what I love about Trey Smith? He's gone after this season. You know what I love about Kevin Huerter? He's gone after next season. You know what I love about Zach Collins? He's gone after next season. I'm not trying to sit here and find a diamond in the rough. I'm trying to draft my diamond in the rough.
There we go.
So it seems like you've missed out on some of the opportunity to move Nikola Vucevic. And that may not happen now because at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. Yeah, you got to have a team to trade them to. You can't just trade them to the NBA and say, you find a spot for them. We'd have a lot of people moved on from. Something else that KC dropped, he said, Lonzo Ball is drawing interest, but in order to get draft capital out of the pending UFA, Bulls would probably have to take a long-term contract back. Remember, Lonzo makes $21.4 million. That's a high number. So you can't just send picks. You have to match salaries a little bit here. And the Bulls don't want to have long-term guys on the books, right? They want to have those 1 year, 2 year guys where you take a flyer on them. So it's turned into, and this came out a little bit earlier, not only is there less interest to take people back, but the Bulls have even thought about the possibility of re-signing Lonzo. They've thought about the possibility of not buying Lonzo out post-trade deadline. When you hear these, this about the trade situation for the Bulls essentially sounding like it's over, JC, how you feeling on that one?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm kind of torn when it comes to Lonzo, but just to address Vooch real quick, as you mentioned, where there were some possible, I believe there were a couple of teams, there were a couple of trade scenarios where Vooch could have been packaged or given to a team that was actually in the playoff hunt. But I believe now that there's a whole lot of KD talk, I think that kind of ship has sailed as far as his value, and or maybe other organizations are just waiting for the Bulls to be desperate at the finish line and just saying, you know what, we'll just take whatever back. So it could be one of those situations. But for my money, I think Vooch, you got him here at least past this deadline. So that's my opinion. I think we've already missed that ship has sailed in a sense. But when it comes to Lonzo Ball, it's funny because I'm looking at the performance from Modest yesterday, and I'm saying, man, the fact that he did this as soon as Zach left, he got a few more minutes. I believe he had 31 minutes, the most he's had in the game.
First 30-minute game of the season.
Yeah, it's like you put up a 10 for 10 performance, and it wasn't just a lousy. I mean, he was doing all type of moves. The excellent move. He had the over the arm move layup to the basket, 4 for 4 from 3. He showcased some special. Some talent. It wasn't just a normal 24. And so I was impressed. My thing is, like, when you get a guy like him, and if we were to look into, say, Cooper Flag by chance, you get those two guys on this team, I believe you need a veteran presence at the point guard position. Lonzo Ball is still a young guy, technically. And so I feel like if you were to keep Lonzo Ball long-term, he would be good for the development of someone like a Modest Buzelis and a Cooper Flag, or whoever we were to get, maybe a Dylan Harper or whatever the case may be in the draft. You saw it on display the other day. There were times where when Lonzo got the ball, he has the vision to give it right back to the guys that are open. The seam pass that he threw into the paint to Modest for the dunk. I feel like, sometimes there are point guards that may overlook that type of pass. And so you want somebody that's a pure point guard, a guy that is going to be selfless at that position, that is obviously very good at defending. We know what Lonzo Ball brings to the table, despite the many injuries and issues with his legs. Hey, new knees, knew him. And that's why I think maybe you keep a guy like him around. I wouldn't be mad. It just depends on what the money would be if you were to re-sign him. I'm fine with going that route.
See, I think look, I said this yesterday on Locked On Bulls, right? Like, if you're talking about re-signing Lonzo for like a 2-year, $12 million deal, fine, right? Like, it is what it is. He's not a big part of the cap. I'm not tripping on it. But we've seen this before. This is the healthy stretch. This is the good portion.
He's scared.
And look, how can you not be?
Yeah.
How can you not feel like, oh, he's going to he's gonna have injury again because that's who he's been in his career. Like, you're telling me all of a sudden the one surgery where they basically was just like, here's a new knee is the one that fixes it?
That's it. he's healed.
Look, if he's the bionic man and all of a sudden we're talking about 10 years down the line, he's got kind of a Sean Livingston bounce back. Sure, I love it. Listen, I love how he's been able to bounce back defensively. That is the one thing that I do like about, seeing him back on the court. I thought the defense probably would take a hit because of some lateral issues, but he seems like he can do just fine with that. Offensively, still shooting the 3 ball well, still facilitates really well. Like, there's all these things that he's still doing really well that are exciting. And listen, I love Lonzo. I love the fact that he's made it back on the court. I love the fact that he is still looks like the player that he is. But we've done this. And you're gonna do it again. And listen, the kind of player Lonzo is, no matter what, he's gonna become important. There's no, like, he's a better point guard than Josh Giddey.
Pure point guard, yes, I do agree with that. Yeah,
he's important in the important moments, in the late moment games, and you're going to have to build things around Lonzo Ball being on the court. And the one thing that we can't count on in our time here in Chicago and Lonzo Ball's career in the NBA is Lonzo Ball being on the court. So for me, it's you're holding on to him because they're offering a couple of seconds and you don't feel you're getting good value back there. You found Io in the second. And Io, listen, to me, Io's your untouchable.
Yeah.
Io and Modest Buzelis are the two untouchables on this team. Everybody else, hey, have a little
have a nice day.
Take a trip. How about that?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, what was that from you there, P. Will? Pure and utter domination. Thank you.
He actually had a good game yesterday.
He did. That P. Will actually played well yesterday. But in general,
more trade value.
In general. But no, man, it is kind of, I'll say this, it's a little bit concerning to hear that it seems like the Bulls are done kind of at the trade deadline, and we'll see what moves end up being made, right? Who the heck had Kevin Durant back to the Warriors before last night? So you never know. You never know what's going to happen with this team, bro. Everybody's sitting there just like, all the good teams keep getting good again. Why do we suck? AK. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Oh, right before we got up out of here, man, we got over 300. There you go.
Good
M commented in. I was hoping to never see Tyson's cheeks ever again. Well, welcome to the Windy City Breeze, where you get a little bit of everything.
Where all things are possible.
Thought you were never going to see Tyson's cheeks again, did you? All right, let's get out of here, man. Hey, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer. 4 minutes of medium self, Jordan JC. It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bed down. One love. Peace.
Yes, sir.
I got some cheeks for you.
The best show for Chicago sports.